All right, we'll go ahead and get started. We've got a full house tonight. Thank you, everybody, for showing up and being in attendance. And thank you to everybody that is watching on our live stream tonight. And since we do have a room full of people, if everybody doesn't care to go ahead and silence their mobile devices, because that does get kind of loud. And then Miss Jessica, Commissioner Harding has requested for you to lead our invocation tonight, if you are okay with that, and if not, I will call on someone else.
Sure. Let's pray. Father God, we just come to you this evening, and Father, I just want to thank you for this time that we are spent together. Father, I pray that you would just lead us in what is right and in making decisions. And Father, I just thank you for each commissioner who is here. Father, I pray that you would just bless them. And Father, just let this go as you see fit in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody is aware of our ethics and awareness conflict of interest reminder. Do we have any conflicts of interest at this time? Hearing none, we will move on to item number 6, which is additions or changes to the agenda.
Madam Chair, I have several amendments to our agenda. But first, we need to remove item 10E, which is the front end loader trash truck sanitation discussion. We also need to add item 11F, which is the JCPC membership updates. And I also ask that we table 9A, which is the employee of the month, till our next meeting.
Do we have a second for Commissioner Roberts?
Second.
Okay. Thank you. All in favor, vote by usual sign. And since we only have one public comment, we have a rather lengthy agenda for tonight. Would anybody be opposed to making a motion for Ms. Lisa to have public comment earlier and maybe move it from item 9F?
Madam Chairman, I move that we move item number 16, public comment, board comments to 9A.
Make it first.
If you want to, that's fine.
9A.
Okay. All in favor, vote by usual sign, or wait,
Second.
thank you, Clayton. Thank you. Jeff, are you good with it?
Yes.
Okay. So motion carries. All righty then. Having everybody updated their agendas, do we have a motion to adopt their agenda for tonight?
So moved. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Clayton. All in favor, vote by usual sign. Motion carries. All right. And in your board packet, everyone should have had a copy of the February 12th, 2024 minutes. Do we have a motion to approve those tonight?
I move that we approve with one change, under board comments, it says that, I stated that I was the newly elected vice chair for via Region 2. I was actually re-elected. So second term.
Thank you. We have a motion with those revisions. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, vote by usual sign. The motion carries. All right, speeding right along to item number 9 under our reports and presentations. We will go ahead and 9A, we'll go ahead and let Miss Lisa speak.
You take your little premature, actually. Hello, my name is Lisa Schultz, and I'm here representing Search, which is an organization, a volunteer organization that was formed after Labor and Delivery was closed at our hospital. Search has been advocating for local access to essential healthcare services in Yancey and Mitchell counties ever since that time. And we've also been listening to local community members and reporting our findings to decision makers because we value and trust local wisdom and want it to be considered before important decisions are made that affect all of us. I'm here to commend the planning group on its work and to thank the commissioners for putting experience of local people at the center of its efforts to change the impact of substance use on everyone. Search's community engagement project was actually well into the process of conducting listening sessions in both Yancey and Mitchell counties when we learned that the planning group would be relying on the experience of local folks in their input to you. So on how to disperse the opioid settlement funds. So we stopped our sessions after hearing that because we didn't want to compete with them. We had heard by that time from 70 people. We did produce a report, which I understand you actually have, entitled Beyond Substance Use, Community Voices, Community Solutions. And it's referenced in the report to the planning group. You already have it, and at least one commissioner has asked us if we might present that later this month. With the Yancey and Mitchell Substance Abuse Task Force having initiated a strategic planning process that brings together many of the service providers involved in this absolutely critical issue for our counties, and the efforts of the planning groups in Yancey and Mitchell counties on behalf of the commissioners, I just want to say it's really heartening to see this health crisis receive such a concerted and committed effort to involve the people. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. We have Miss Jessie Festival. Where are you? Oh, you're hiding out there. So item B tonight, 9B tonight is our tax collector.
Good evening. I'll be short. Total collections for the month of February was $356,334.53. Our collection rate as of February 29th is 94.86%. And of course, we'll be advertising the tax lien that you approved last month's meeting. We'll put those in the newspaper this month. And we've currently got $70,000 in payment agreements, but that's slow money coming in. And then we'll continue in our state, as people get their state refunds, we'll continue monitoring that.
Anybody have any questions for Miss Jessie?
I have one, Jesse, you may or may not know, I'll your head. How does this compare to last year's? Are we on track? Are we
Yes.
lower or higher? Or
As far as the percentage?
Yeah, the percentage.
I can check, send you an email, I'll give you an email.
I got just
You can
curious.
share, yeah. I think we're on track though, it
Okay.
may be a little better.
Great.
So, but I'll get you that number.
All right, I appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right. The next item on our agenda is item 9C, and that is the Family Development Program Overview from Wendy. Hello, hey, how are you?
Good. I'm Lisa O'Mara and I'm with WAMI, and WAMI stands for Watauga Avery Mitchell Yancey Community Action. And I don't know how familiar you all are with Community Action, but it is a federal program that came about in the 1960s. And we are celebrating our 60th year this year, which is great. But I just briefly want to tell you guys a little bit about what we do and solicit help from you all to get it out into the community that we are here to help. We have 3 locations. Our main office is in Boone. My office is in Avery in Newland. And then we have also an office in Spruce Pine. And that's where most of our housing folks are, is in the Spruce Pine office. We do have 2 different programs. One's housing. And that's a whole nother program, and I will not be speaking about that, but I want to speak to you about Family Development Program. So under the Family Development Program, we have pretty much 5 services. And what those consist of is our total family development program. And what that means is we take on a client, whether it be an individual or a family, and we partner with them in a contract, and they have to meet our eligibility requirements and our criteria in the program. And what they basically do is once they've met all of those requirements, we will onboard them and we will help them get a degree. Whatever their goals are, maybe it's to, for an example, get their bachelor's degree. We will go with them along the way, help them pay their bills as they're going through the program. help them with their finances, in their household, whatever it may be, and just set goals with them. They'll set short-term goals and long-term goals and see it through all the way to the end and try to encourage them to finish. And once that's done, what we do is we also want them to rise above poverty. So when they come to us, they're usually below poverty, and what we want them to do is to get their degree and to find employment, and hopefully within our counties to find employment, and then rise above that poverty level. And sometimes that takes 2 to 3 years, sometimes 4 years, just depends, but we'll walk them through that whole program. So we don't have enough funds to do a whole lot of folks. But we have had 3 folks in Mitchell County this year. 2 of them are getting ready to be out of the program, which they've been successful. And we have 1 more that we're still working with. So we will be looking at onboarding probably 2 or 3 more next year. So keep that in mind. If you all know of anybody that would be a good candidate, to give us a call. You can find our number and information on our website. The other program that we have is,
Quick question on that.
oh, sure.
Do you have to does whoever you sponsor have to go for just a bachelor's, or could they go
Oh,
for a
no.
trade?
They could go for a trade, yeah.
And you guys would support that, yeah.
And what we do is we also partner with WorkSmart and with Malin Community College, and all these other resources. So we partner with all the different resources within the counties and make sure that they get everything that they can get, and get all the help that they can for their families, maybe their child's falling behind or whatever. We try to help them in every aspect and try to help them, reach their goals. But yes, we've helped many with their CDLs and saw them through. And then what success of that program would be is they get their license and then they get a really good job.
Yeah.
So we wait until they're stable. And once they give us 90 days of income, then we can, discharge them from the program. Yeah. Our other program that we have really focused a lot on this fiscal year is our limited financial assistance program that we call Bridges. Now, this program has been wonderful, and we have been able to help a lot of individuals in this program. And basically what this is folks that are, they're on a fixed income and their car tears up, or they have, they get sick and they can't pay a bill, they can't pay their light bill, they can't buy oil, gas, they can't make a car payment, they can't pay their child care, whatever it may be. Now there are certain things we will not pay, but that's basically transportation, housing, or childcare, and electricity, things that would cause them, that if they didn't pay it, could cause them to spiral down into poverty and lose their home. And so that's what we have tried to help. We did have an individual this year that we have helped significantly in Mitchell County, and we almost depleted most of our funds for Mitchell County with this one individual, but we thought it was well worth it. She was on maternity leave, and she had other children in the home, and she almost lost her home. And then she needed to go back to work, and she couldn't go back to work because of the childcare, expenses. So we were able to help her get her back on her feet. And, we're still trying to keep in touch with her in that as well. The only problem with this program is kind of a one-time thing, unless it's, exigent circumstances, which, we'll try to find other funds or other people to try to help as well. But our goal this year has been 105 with all 4 counties. And so far, we are up to like 80 people already this year. So we've helped a lot of folks. And what we're seeing, basically, the biggest items is electricity in Mitchell County. People are having a hard time paying their electric bills. And they've had some pretty hefty bills come from Duke Power. And we've helped a lot with French Broad too. So, but that's kind of where we focus there. But we've paid a lot in transportation. A lot of folks have had car problems. There's a new ministry in Avery County called Broken Wheels Ministry, and we partner with them, and they are able to give them kind of a discount if we'll pay for the cost of the parts. The labor's free, and so we partnered with them in Avery and Mitchell to help folks out, and that's been really good. So we try to partner where we can. We have other ministries where we'll pay part of the bill, they'll pay part of the bill. Some churches, will also kick in money. So we try to partner as best we can to help people out as much as we can. Our other programs within family development, we have what we call a resource and referral. And what that means is folks will call us that we're, it's kind of out of our wheelhouse. It's not something that our program would cover. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that we're gonna find them somebody in the community to be able to help them. Whoever it may be, because there's whatever service that they need, we're gonna make sure they get it. So we kind of want to make sure that they're getting what they need and they know what's available to them. The other thing is a volunteerism. This is a new program we started this year. We're kind of doing it as a pilot in-house. So what that means is our housing folks will refer folks over to our department, and our volunteer coordinator will put the project in the volunteer system, and then we recruit volunteers online. And what that looks like is things that our housing folks can't help with. Maybe there's a handicap ramp that they don't have in their budget to be able to build. So we'll, get volunteers. A lot of times churches will help. We've done that several times. World Changers is coming in this year, and we're going to be able to help several people with houses in all the 4 counties. So we're looking forward to that. We're also going to have some big projects this year with being the 60th year anniversary. We're going to be working with Habitat in Avery County and Mitchell and Yancey counties. So look for our website volunteer button, and y'all volunteer if you can. That would be wonderful. The other thing is our youth program. What we do here is we used to get a big grant and we ran a youth camp, but now the YMCA does that. So what we do is we offer scholarships to individuals within each county. Like in Watauga County, the schools do different summer camps. And so we offer those who are eligible for the 125% poverty guidelines. If they qualify for the program, then we will pay up to $1,000 per child for the summer. And in Mitchell County, that will be the Learning Shack or Thrive. So we will be paying scholarships for that, and we'll be working with them. Well, keep us in mind. We'd love to see you guys volunteering. And my goal is really to work harder in Mitchell and Yancey County and get a better presence. And that's why I'm here tonight, is to get our name out there, and so we can help as many people as we can. Okay, thank you all.
Do you have our DSS directors contact info? Okay, I just want to make sure you got.
Yeah, we work with them.
All righty, the next item tonight is item 9D, and that is our substance use opioid presentation. So I guess I will start off with you, Mrs. Linda.
That's good.
Well, good evening, Commissioners, County Manager. Thank you, a big thank you for the opportunity to bring you the information from our opioid substance use community learning process project. As the project coordinator for Mitchell County, I can't tell you how awesome it has been to work with a lot of wonderful people on this project. And I'm looking around the room to look at the support and all of you guys that have been involved with this project, because we could not have done it without you. And this is not everybody, but thank you very much for being here, all of you. A lot of work has been done since starting this project in last summer. And as you can tell, the very detailed shareback report that was provided to you guys electronically, it was large, but today we're going to go through a presentation that has narrowed that down and share the information with you. So during this presentation tonight, you're going to hear from different people that will offer a sense of how many perspectives have shaped this community learning process. Many great things have come from this project for our communities, and this information being shared is what the community has said for offering you decision-making guidance around substance use for the distribution of the federal opioid settlement funding in Mitchell County. So I first want to say a big thank you out to the commissioners for giving the community an opportunity to have their voice and their story be heard. That has been a critical piece of this project for us. On behalf of Mitchell County, also a big shout out to Dogwood Health Trust for the grant that they provided to Mitchell County for this project. Western North Carolina Health Network consultants that have guided us through this project. A big thank you to both of you. Yancey County Local Government for partnering with us on this project. All that participated on one or more groups throughout the project, which included many, many community partners and individuals. And a great big thank you to our community members of the two counties that shared a story of their lived experience surrounding substance use. So I want to say, as a result of this project, I'm confident that you will have enough information to assist your determining focused areas that would benefit and help change our community surrounding this epidemic. Also let you know, and our citizens know, that this information presented here tonight, as well as the full detailed shareback report, will be made available on the drug page of the Mitchell County website, as well as information about the opioid settlement funding from the federal government. So if you have not, the screen is designed for the commissioners to see the presentation. So for those in the audience, if you don't have a presentation, they're out on the table, or I have a couple here. Please follow along with us. And at this time, it's my great pleasure to turn it over to Emily and Ashley, the Western North Carolina Health Network consultants, to get us started on the presentation tonight. So again, thank you for the opportunity.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having us tonight. I'm Emily Kajawa. I'm with WNC Health Network, as Glenda mentioned. We're a nonprofit organization that works with people and organizations in the 16 counties of Western North Carolina who are working together for the health of people in their communities. And it's our honor to have supported this process.
Yeah, and I'm Ashley Cooper. I'm also the consultant on that. And just for me personally, I've been a part of community guided processes for many years and had the fortune of working in Yancey County over the last 14 years. But over the last 10 months to really dive deep into talking to folks, but also learning from the stories of people in your community and feeling just how much energy there is to address this together. And so that's our hopes today, is that we can bring you a sense of that energy that we are hearing from the people in your community. And maybe with that, like if all the advisors that are here, if maybe you'd be open to coming and standing up here with us, just so you can get a feel that we're just the mouthpieces for what's really come from the community. Thank you.
I'll put y'all on the spot, right?
You can sit too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's, spots to sit up. Yeah, thank y'all. And as we're kind of getting settled, I'll also just name, we thought we had 30 minutes, including questions for this presentation. So we'll cover as much as we can.
10 minutes of questions.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You got 30 minutes.
Okay, great. All right. Thanks. We were like. All right. So our conversation today, what we want to share with you back from this presentation is a little bit about this community learning process that's been happening over the last 10 months. You can see some of the more than 20 local folks in Mitchell and Yancey counties who were very closely involved in this process, really helped design it and make it happen in the way that it did. And these included people who have misused substances and are in recovery, family members of folks who have lived a substance use journey, first responders, healthcare professionals, people who work with youth, and many others. And 119 people from both counties participated in the community process to help make sense of all the information, and you'll hear more about that.
And then we also tonight want to let you know what is it that the community said that they feel like is important for you as commissioners specifically to know. And then we have very specific examples of interventions that people have offered. We also just want to say on the front end that this process was not to make the specific, this is where we think you should actually invest the funding. This process was to help get a big picture of what are we facing as a community, and then provide all of the intervention ideas that community members have. And then we will also be giving you some decision-making guidance that came from the community of these are things that might help you as you're making your decisions about the actual funding. So we'd like to pass it to Josh Wyatt.
Good evening. I hope everybody's doing well. For y'all that, y'all.
Yeah.
For you all that may not know me, my name's Joshua Wise. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ who struggled with substance abuse for many years. On August the 15th, I will celebrate my 9th year of sobriety. But I'm not here to talk about me. I'm here as a representation of those who are in active addiction today, those who are in recovery, and those who have passed away from substance abuse. Our hopes for today's conversation is that we don't lose sight of why we're here. These aren't just people who have made wrong choices and destroyed their life. These are our people. I am proud to be a resident of Mitchell County. I am proud to stand before my commissioners today. Most of y'all know me. Most of you have seen my journey from the top to the bottom and rise back up. But it's took the community rallying around us to be able to do that. I sit here and I look at many people who have traveled the same pathway as I did, made wrong choices, got on the wrong path. And I just want to make this statement. Addiction does not discriminate. I never set out to destroy my life. Clayton knew me well. Me and Clayton worked together when I started down that bad path. I wasn't a bad guy, was I? I made some bad choices, and before I knew it, the chains of addiction had me bound. It took Jesus to be able to set me free, but I stand proud of my sobriety today. So don't give up on the people in our community who have made these wrong choices. I wouldn't be standing here today, like I said earlier, if my community had not rallied around me and gave me opportunity to be able to succeed. That's what we're calling upon our community today, is to believe in this cause and realize that these are our family. These are our friends. These are our children. Don't give up on them. Each and every one of us have got a story of somebody that we know that we've lost. You know, there's all different kinds of death. There's spiritual death, there's physical death, there's death of our future. Each of us knows somebody that we've lost to this cause, substance abuse. So at this moment, I just want to take a brief moment for us to honor those who we have lost. Thank you, guys. And once more, I count it an honor and a privilege to be able to stand before you.
Well, and we're trying to give you tonight a sense of what this process has been, which is based in like the everyday people's stories. And so kind of to echo what Lisa was saying and what Glenda was saying of the gratitude to y'all for investing in this process. Stephanie and Cassie are going to share a little bit about the impact it's already had just before you even make your spending choices.
Hey, Stephanie Wiseman, 911 Director, EMS System Administrator. This process has been amazing. It gives an impact that you really can't imagine, and it hits you closer than you think, whether it's in your real life or in your job. These people are amazing that have been through this, have been through the depths, and listen to the stories, and these are the people that we need to listen to and use their experience to find the solutions and pick the right path. I will say that it has made me and my job look at things a lot different. Look for some new ideas, look for some ways that we can benefit with the EMS system, looking outside of our county boundaries, outside of the country to other countries that are doing some out of the box things to try to come up with things so we can help and not be part of the problem, be part of the solution.
Thought you were gonna read what it said. I read this a few minutes ago. We'll see what it says. Hey, I'm Cassie Felsen. I'm a grateful believer. I'm in recovery. I'm a mom. I'm an addict. I'm a grandma. I'm a friend. I'm a builder. I don't know. I'm all those things. I'm in recovery. Thanks to Jesus saving me. this process is brought together. Oh, yeah, this process is brought together a more diverse crowd. I mean, seriously, look around, guys, right? No? Yeah, people who would normally fool with the community process have been engaged. It's involved people and agencies in government who are tired and also sick of being or asked to be at 1,000 meetings. Bet y'all know nothing about that, right? Yeah, we don't either. That's why I didn't read this till a few minutes ago. It has also involved people in recovery who don't generally show up to meetings like this. You know why we do? Because we're welcome. Okay, because we're welcomed. Josh said, this community came around me. I was thinking what made the difference for me on the drive over here. I got sober in jail. And I don't know if any of the officers that had any part of that are still alive. Maybe they are. That one is. Anyway, but that is where I was able to get sober. But I recovered in my community because there were people there that loved me when I came home. They did not throw money at me and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry you've been gone. They didn't. But when I went to work, they were like, hey, she went to work. We'll give her another job. Okay. It took the community, and you're exactly right. Being welcomed, being loved, be held accountable. Don't be crazy. Let's see what else I said. I didn't say that again. Oh yeah, it also brought people together from different parts of the system, people who don't normally work together. Even if they see each other, they don't usually talk and share topics that are really valuable and necessary for working together. And that's because we all got 100 meetings and 100 causes, right? Yeah, so thanks for hearing us. Really appreciate it. And thanks for being in that community that welcomes us.
So just to add a little more context to what's already been shared, in addition to this deeply community engaged process, you all invested in kind of a part one of this two-part process. And part one was a needs assessment report that includes a lot of number data that you're welcome to look through at your leisure, but just a couple of key pieces to add context locally for Mitchell County. In 2021, 100% of people in Mitchell County who participated in the survey said that substance use was a major problem. So it's widely recognized in the community that this is something that's affecting all of us. Nearly 3/4 of children in the Mitchell DSS system are there because of substance use of a parent or caregiver. And you have questions about that, I'm sure Sean would be open to talking about that. Maybe if I can volunteer you for some future conversation. Thanks. And in addition to that, there's very few limited resources that already exist locally within a 1-hour drive for treatment options. And there's many other barriers to accessing treatment, such as lack of resources to pay for treatment. It can be very expensive. Lots of services that are available happen during work hours, and so aren't available for folks who are working, as an example.
So we wanted to tell you, this is some pictures of the community engagement. As Emily said, 119 people participated in the various forums. We received, people gave 130 stories that, you know, when Stephanie was talking about like the impact, it's hearing people, this is what, so I'll back up and say, the goal of this learning process is to help show the big picture of what does the community need. And when it comes to a really complex situation like substance use, there's not one answer. There's not like, okay, this is the one thing, and if we focus on that, that's going to change everything. And the way that we can really understand a complex situation is to have as many different stories from all the different vantage points as possible, from a DSS perspective, from a child who grew up in a household, from somebody who's been through the journey of recovery, somebody who's still struggling in it. So that's what this process has been about, trying to gather from all these different perspectives, the stories, so that people can read the stories. And then also trying to bring people together to be collaborating through the whole process, because, you know, as magical and wonderful as y'all might be, you can't fix everything. It's gonna take a whole community working together. So that was the intent of this methodology we used. It's called participatory narrative inquiry. And really, what is currently happening, what are the needs, and what could prevent substance use and addiction? I think those are the main things, and just, we wanted Dr. Willett to speak a little bit to how this has strengthened these meaningful relationships and how that is actually relevant when addressing this matter.
Hello, White Willett, I'm a family medicine provider in the area. I take care of a lot of folks struggling with substance use, but I was happy to be a part of the process. The issue of substance abuse always seems to me like such a divisive issue. People have very differing opinions about what is needed to help. We don't always universally accept folks with substance use disorders as worthy of our time and attention. It can seem more of a nuisance, a problem we'd like to just go away. And I think the attitudes we carry ultimately trickle down onto the people living with substance use disorders. They frequently use words like clean and unclean to portray themselves. I found the community learning process a pleasant appeal to the often divisive nature of the issue. We were from various backgrounds, but we sat together acknowledging the hardship of the issue, but having sensitivity and respect for all. Many of us were moved very personally, even I think to tears at times, by the painful stories we encountered. We were able to approach the topic from a place of compassion. All the bias, stigma, stereotypes were mostly left at the door. It seemed like a healthy place to approach a difficult topic. And it made me wonder if the goodwill involved was much more likely to lead to healing and health than any great ideas we really might come up with. It was good to be a part of the process. I wish for a similar attitude to penetrate widely through our communities. Thank you.
And what we learned, just one of the questions after people share a story is, what do you think was most needed? And one of the highest answers was love and connection. And so, I mean, I think what Dr. Willett's saying, what we're hearing is that bringing people together in a welcoming way has a way to serve that. So one of the things that we want to invite of y'all, in addition to how you spend the opioid settlement funds, is like, how can you keep promoting this sort of welcoming, integrated into community opportunities around this topic? They mentioned a lot the stories. There's 130 stories that were contributed. I think 120 were made, available to be read. You have copies here. 79 of those were specifically people indicated they would like for county commissioners to read those stories. In your packet, you have one of the questions that followed up was, what's the exact wording? What does this story tell you about how to address substance use issues in our counties? So from the 79 stories that were specifically indicated for y'all, we included people's answers to what does this story tell you? So you still got to go back to read the story, but you can at least get that shorthand of what it told you. 50 stories were from people who currently or previously used drugs, 18 from healthcare providers, 5 from emergency responders. So again, that importance that we get to hear from everybody. And then one other thing, maybe Kathy, if you want to just add in, when it came to, so these are the 4.
And we have to stop talking.
Oh my gosh.
No,
No,
we did stop.
So these are the 4 main categories of where groups of people where resources and support are needed. People who use substances, children of folks who use substances, family members, and the care providers. And then this shows you the motivations. So again, these are the answers to questions after somebody shared their story. What do you think motivated the person to use substance? And you'll see the 2 highest, like Josh was saying, it's not folks trying to blah, 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 blah. It's emotional soothing medication was one of the highest, responding to dope sickness or addiction. And is there anything you would like to say about those 2
There's
high
something
ones?
you want me to say, yes,
Yeah.
I know, it's on the paper. Well, I didn't look at all the other stuff, but curiosity and boredom, peer pressure, medication, coercion of other people. I don't know why, I bet you do. Those things are what we encounter every day, right? Right, so whatever situation we were in, like, that's how it started, right? Okay, those other ones, emotional soothing does not even begin to describe. I don't know who wrote that up there, but the torment you live whenever you sober up and realize what you've done, where you are, where you're sleeping, where your kid is. Did you lie to your mom again and you stole a pocketbook? Whatever. Emotional soothing, no. Zoning out because you hate yourself so bad. You hate yourself more than anybody else could hate you possibly. Dope addiction, that's not what I meant to say. Dope sickness or addiction. There's no words to explain it. You know, I know, you guys know, but unless you know, you don't know what you'll do if you're that sick. I always just try to say it has to be Satan, because what else would a mother leave her baby for? What else is that powerful? That's, you can't explain it. And then survival. So it's just that circle, right? You start out having fun, and then all of a sudden you're embarrassed and you're ashamed, so you're emotionally soothing or whatever. And then one day you wake up and you cannot physically walk, you're shaking, you're sick, throwing up, everything, everywhere, unable to stand up and get dressed. And then it turns into survival. I feel like the curiosity and boredom, that's definitely why we might have used. But those three tall ones, that's what keeps us sick. Unless something interrupts that, that's where we'll stay. Is that what you wanted to say? I forgot to read. Thank you.
Yeah, and so we're trying to offer, the community has offered, and we're trying to give back to you these places where you can interrupt that. And just one more quick graph for you to see, of the folks who shared stories, 42 of the 50 who have used drugs started when they were under 18. There's many stories that mention what it was like growing up in a home. I know that's often curious, so just to let you know that information is in there.
Okay. So as has been mentioned earlier, a goal of this process has been to see the big picture, sort of a comprehensive view of what's needed, what would be supportive in addressing substance use in Mitchell and Yancey counties. It was not designed to offer conclusions or specific funding recommendations to y'all, but instead was designed to really draw out questions, like help us identify and you all identify, where do we need to learn more to be able to make the kinds of decisions that we want to make. And so in this spirit, today we're sharing the breadth of what came out of this process from the community. And we anticipate and hope that this will spark more questions for you all as you're moving through any decision-making processes specific to opioid settlement funds or otherwise. So the final report includes this visual. I know you all received that electronically. I don't think you have printed copies right now, but just know that the final report that's in your e-packets includes all of the many suggestions from community that generally fell into 11 areas for intervention, the brown circles you see at the bottom of the visual, and 11 goals for community wellness, the green circles at the top. And I just want to acknowledge that 2 local artists helped create this visual. It's the background image was painted by Jennifer Hahn and is called Seeing the Big Picture. Called Rooted in Recovery. And Jocelyn and Alan, who's a local teenager, created the bird and the mushroom that you see sort of toward the center of the image. Both of their families have been impacted by the opioid epidemic, and we're so grateful that they contributed their beautiful art in this way. And now I'm going to invite Jessica for the Mitchell Yancey Substance Abuse Task Force to briefly walk us through this visual.
Yeah, my name is Jessica Zucchino. I coordinate the Mitchell Yancey Substance Abuse Task Force. So the visual is just a big picture. I think he's kind of looking at it. It gives that theme of like roots and fruits. So these are all the areas that require attention from our community. And if we invest in all of these things, we'll be able to move towards the goals of community wellness. So the question, of course, that like you all are pondering, that many of us are pondering, are like, what are the commissioners going to do about this? But we're not here to put pressure on you about like which one you should or shouldn't. Like they're all valuable. And we're all here to let you know that we appreciate whichever ones you decide to prioritize. And the task force brings together many different folks from the community to be able to wrap around and take care of whatever else it is, because like we've mentioned, this is a community effort in order to address substance use. So whatever you all prioritize, you prioritize, we can start to prioritize the rest and split up the remainder of the work. So just a reminder that there's no one right area for you all to invest in. We just would love to be in partnership with you about addressing this issue.
Thanks, Jessica. And I think another hope for this visual is it can be a tool to support community-wide conversation about who might be interested to focus in on which of these areas. The task force may say, well, we're well positioned to address certain one of these. There might be faith communities that say, you know, we're interested in focusing on some of those. You as commissioners may see specific areas where it feels like you're well positioned and it makes sense to support. So we hope this is the tool for ongoing conversation and coordination across the community. Actually, I'm gonna go back here. So a couple of other things just to point out in the report you have in your e-packets. It's 120 pages. So hopefully that just the volume of information also gives you a sense of how passionate and deeply the community cares about this topic and the breadth of ideas that they have, and also how much is already happening in these areas to address this. So in your packet, you'll see a table, I think, Clayton, you have it on top, that shows an example of the kind of information you'll find in the report. So for each of these areas of intervention, you'll see some quotes from stories and folks in the community connected to that topic. You'll see kind of an overview and description of it, and you'll see lists of ideas that come directly from the community, both from this learning process, as well as from the assessment report I mentioned earlier, and also from the search listening sessions that Lisa spoke about. You'll also see another list of things the community has identified as already happening that address this area. So hopefully all of that information together will give valuable and richness to understanding, you know, what are some specifics we could dig into and what's already happening that could be built upon. A couple of things to note. Some of the areas for intervention do already exist. There are already things happening, but more investment is needed. Some things are available in the region, but are essentially inaccessible to people in Mitchell County because it requires an hour drive or more. Some things don't exist at all. And so there would be an initial upfront investment required to support them.
And some things are just, you know, everyone in the community contributing love, support, connection, belonging, acceptance, accountability. Like, how else can things be invited using your position to invite more opportunities of this sort?
So in addition to all of the suggestions for intervention, the community is also offering some guidance and criteria for you all as commissioners for you to take into account as you're moving through your decision-making process. This list is also in the report, so you'll find that. As has been mentioned, there's not enough funding to address all of these areas at once. And your unique contributions to addressing this issue include not only how you choose to spend opioid settlement funds, but also how you might choose, what things you might choose to publicly endorse or support in the community. Possibly directing government agencies to do exploration, find grants around certain interventions. So there's lots of ways that we hope that this report can be valuable in y'all's roles. And so all of that said, there are a couple of additional tools in the report in appendices that we hope can be a support for you all in your decision making. So Appendix C of the report includes a rubric that is, you can see here, that includes the criteria from the community from the previous slide, along with the strategies from option A of the MOA for opioid settlement funds. Some of you may be familiar with that. And it also includes some suggestions for how you might want to use this tool as in support of your decision making. Another appendix, Appendix B in the report, lists the strategies under option A in your MOA for the opioid settlement funds, along with the areas for intervention that we feel like fall within those broad strategies. So hopefully that can be a tool to help you focus in your inquiry and conversation. And
just to say that, like, if you wanted to do recovery housing support, that was something you decided, then you could go look, and under that, you'll see which of the boxes that are that blue box, and then it has all the different interventions that community suggested.
The last thing I'll say is that, while Mitchell County is currently chosen to go with option A, so there's option A and option B that you could have different lists of strategies. So you all have chosen to go with option A for now. Just to note that option B includes many additional ways that the funds funds could be used. And a lot of the ideas from the community, particularly around prevention for youth, fall under option B. So over time, it might, if you all decide that you want to shift over to option B, there's also many, many ideas from community to inform those decisions.
And it's likely, we obviously can't say, but it's likely that this extensive community process that you've already invested in would qualify for the criteria to open up option B. So Jeff, do you want to maybe?
I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back to share again that we haven't offered you a whole lot of clarity on this, but we have offered you a lot of resources. And just to reiterate that there's a lot of energy around this. We're mobilized. The community wants to take action on this and wants to support you all in your decision making and then understand where we fit in around those decisions. So again, no one right place to invest. So we believe that your investment in any of these areas is really valuable, and we want you to know that we're eager to partner with you around these and want to know how we can work together. So we look forward to an ongoing conversation and just echoing yet again the gratitude that we all hold to be able to share with you tonight.
Yeah, thank you for your time and attention and your flexibility with the time as well. Thank you. And thank you to all y'all.
Any questions?
Guys, yeah, questions?
That's what I was asking you. As a child that grew up in a home, or I guess you would say a house that didn't feel much like a home, I was constantly exposed to drugs. As a young child, I appreciate everybody in this room that has, had a hand in this, and so I'm sure that I will not keep everybody here because I usually have follow-up questions, but for the ones that I've made a note on, I will get your contact info from Heather.
We welcome any follow-up questions, definitely, yeah.
Usually when I'm at home eating animal crackers at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's when I think.
Those are the best questions.
I don't have any questions. So I have the privilege and honor, along with Commissioner Pittman, to sit in on these reports. And it was tearjerking. Josh is here, Cassie's here. The other Cassie's not here.
She had something come up.
It was very, it was instrumental in our second meeting. When you listen to these guys speak. So my question to them was, how did you get started? How old? And all three of these guys that are recovering addicts started in school. Peer pressure, being bullied, not fitting in. Cassie said, I was my class president. And I started doing dope. And it spiraled. And everybody thought it was good. Well, that's going down a rabbit hole. And one thing got worse and worse and worse. Since I had the meeting with you guys, I like a sponge. Anybody that offers something on this, I've been to a meeting. NC Child Search. Sorry, I can't make the one in Marshall last week.
It's actually next week now.
Oh, next week. That week's bad time. But, and this was mentioned in NC Child. Because this was about vaping. We have a terrible problem in our county vaping. It's estimated 70% of our high school students are vaping. The problem with that, there's no resource that law enforcement or the school system really but to suspend them because there's no law, because all of these different vapes contain different things. Now, there could be illegal drugs in those that are put in those without the kids' knowledge. So And the bill was introduced, and the bill got kicked back out. Well, wonder why? How much does the, I don't know if you call it tobacco industry, we'll call it the vaping industry, make? This, so the people that have the power to change the rules, you know, it's sort of about the money. That our kids are dying, they're getting addicted. Their lives are being ruined. So, I've got 2 years left as a city commissioner. And, my goal, I personally know. Just to make sure we do this right. We get our people help. In my opinion, I like Part B. Because you said the youth. I think we need to start there. You know, we've got alcohol, we've got drugs, we've got vaping. As young as the 6th grade. Ask me how I know. I had 2 daughters in the 6th grade last year that experienced this in their school system. So this is happening. Where did the alcohol come from? In airplane bottles. It came from the house for mom and dad to have a party. And the response was from the parent, oh, we had a party, we thought we had everything put up. Well, no, your son brought 4 airplane bottles of vodka to school to share with his friends. And also had the bacon, which, well, how you get that? You're not old enough to buy that. So until we have rules in place that will enforce this, but not just to kick the kid to the side. There are consequences, but we won't get you paid. Because I can guarantee you, any of you guys that have gone through addiction, you didn't mean to. You didn't mean to go down that road. And it spiraled. And then you didn't know where to turn. So, in my opinion, we've got to work with our education system. We've got to talk to our representatives abroad for help. Because if you address it early, you might not have to address it later on. So it's not to punish the child, but it's to get the child help before they progress on to another drug, you know. And I'm very fortunate that I'm as old as I am because I have an addictive personality. You know, whatever I do, it's wide open sometimes. So thank God none of this stuff was around when I was growing up. You know, I can count on both of these hands 10 or less of people that smoked pot when I was in high school. That was it, you know, and they didn't openly do it. And they sort of hid over the side and want to share it with everybody. You know, that was the out crowd, not the in crowd. Now you do drugs, you're the in crowd. So, you know, I'm committed. I think this commission board is committed. We want to make sure we spend our money the right way to get the most out of this. Thank you guys for being up. I mean, it's hard to stand up, I'm sure, in front of people and, you know, it's live stream and you're talking about your stuff. You know, that's, probably could be very humbling, but, it took a lot of guts for you guys to do this along with the other 125 people that shared their stories that are reaching out for help because where do you go? You know, you look at these things that are happening. RHA walked in crisis center, Spruce Pine, Burnsville. When do they lock their door? When do they quit answering the phone? Where's the parent go to if their kids OD or they're threatening to commit suicide because they have a mental health issue that could be helped with, but where do you go? You don't know where to go as a resource. So it's mind-boggling. You know, I see our DSS director sitting back here and the programs manager, and
You know, they're seeing it. I'm not gonna say on a daily basis anymore, probably on a weekly basis. That this is why the kids end up where they do, and I remember one comment, you know, about the addiction part of the process. I sold my body to the drug dealer for a fix. Lost my kids, lost my home, lost my marriage, and sold my body to the drug dealer. So thank y'all. And I have lost friends from drug addiction. You know, it's a sobering experience when you go into a funeral visitation. I can remember one in particular, my son and I went together, it was in Yancey County, took us an hour to get in the building. So, you know, you're sitting there thinking, what am I gonna say? I thought, you know, I gotta be good. What do you say? So got it all planned out. You walk in and break down in tears. And you and that parent sit there and cry like babies. And there's a lot of us that have kids in this room. We have grandkids in this room. We have family members in this room that it can touch any one of us. It's pretty sad. And what you got? So, thank you guys.
We will move on to the next item, and you guys are not obligated to stay. So when you have here, you're more than welcome. Moving on to item number 9. Oh, yeah,
Board reports?
Do you have any board reports?
Yeah, I had a meeting with that working group that that had been discussing inappropriate placements. Keep it brief.
What was that board? I'm sorry.
Inappropriate placements is through the North Carolina Association of Capital.
Jeff, have you got any board reports? Okay. Clayton, have you got it?
I do, so I met with the Mitchell County Library Board. Me and Mr. Steve did. We have actually it's an assistant librarian, is that right?
Yeah.
Assistant librarian is resigning, her last day is March the 11th, so we're going to, be looking at hiring a new assistant librarian. During that meeting, the personnel committee was developed, so I agreed to sit in on that one. We also decided they needed to put together a policy committee because we're going to be the library board policy. I also agreed to sit in on that one. And so several things going on with the library. I won't tell all of it, but those are some things just to kind of give the board an update on what's going on. So more to come once we get a new assistant librarian and policies and things I can bring back. And also I have the policy that has not been updated. This is the one that the library currently has. If anybody would like to see that or make a copy of it. I also was given, we talked about budgets and so on, and so obviously that's open to the public too. So if anybody would like a copy of that, I have that as well. So.
Thank you.
Me.
We'll have that down to Jeff and then pass one down to Clayton. I have just a few reports, and I'll try to make it quick. Recently met for the animal shelter board, and so the adoptions are kind of slow right now, but NFR did have a joint staff meeting to try and evaluate the needs for both counties. And by staff meeting, I mean, with their current shelter that they have in Greer County. So they were kind of vetting on what the anticipated needs would be. Their new facility completion date is estimated to be 2025. So Van Hoy is the one working on that project, so I would imagine they are, what they're doing with the school, they are working on the YMCA, and I don't know if it'll be after the YMCA project is done or at the same time, but they did give us a date of being completed by 2025. And their next fundraiser that's coming up is their spaghetti, and it's scheduled for March the 23rd at First Baptist Church there in Springline. So if you want to support that, go get you some spaghetti. In those papers that I gave you, I received those from the transportation meeting that I attended. And then also that collaborative broadband is the papers I couldn't find at the last board report. So if you guys want to check those out, if you have any questions, let me know. But the big piece of paper are all the projects going on in DOT, so I thought everybody would be super excited. We've got lots of bridge replacements, and I did notify them that the school had sped up their opening date to this August, and so they were not made aware of that at the time, but now it is on their radar. So hopefully we can get that all sorted out.
Did they give any kind of, timeframe on what that would look like? On road widening to the middle school?
That was the first time the gentleman in that room had heard about it. So,
And I did talk to Tam about a different situation, and, their plans have been some, animals plans. I think they said they worked on for like 6 months on that, widening that. Road. If they haven't submitted.
you know, when they submitted, it may have been after this meeting.
Probably I talked to him the last Tuesday,
Okay, so it would have been after that.
so it was before last Tuesday, plans and arguments.
Okay,
They're on submit.
good deal.
Yeah, they have a civil engineering firm, so that DOT, they submitted, DOT will have to approve.
Yeah. Let's see, but the Red Hill intersection is still planning to begin this spring. I keep bringing that one up each time, especially with the recent chemical spill side. Just always like to ask about that one. At the High Country meeting, there was a regional needs assessment survey, and I believe I set them out there. But if you know anybody that would like to fill one out, it will help a lot of stuff they've got going on. And for the High Country, their 2024 goals are to assist local government with economical development planning, workforce housing projects, assist local government with securing funding for physical infrastructure, whether that be water, internet, all of the above. And there's a whole list. I'll get that for you. Developing and expanding outdoor recreation infrastructure and value-added agriculture projects. So I look forward to seeing what all they get done this year. Another meeting that I went to was the Mitchell County Development Foundation. So the Development Foundation did vote to have the Market on Oak appraised. They had not been successful in finding an appraiser yet, so I had recommended they maybe reach out to Blair. You might know somebody at the state level or whoever. I think all the ones that Van said that he knew were deceased, so it's been a while. But he was gonna actively look, him and Jeff Gibbs were gonna actively look, try to get one, so we could get the building appraised. And then they were looking at selling it. There have been a couple different people interested locally in buying it. So hopefully they can keep it local. And I did attend the Conceit Child meeting with Jeff, and I thought that was very informative. And then, not really a meeting, but I did attend the Penland Community Day, and there was a lot of other leaders there. There's a couple from Town Spruce Pine, and it was really good collaborative effort. That it was just more of a fun day. I got to participate in some art activities, and I'm not very artistic, but it was very fun.
Which one do you do?
Paste paper.
Okay.
So it's in my little scrapbook from mine and John's scrapbook that I make. And then we did have a fire department meeting. There were some fire chiefs. Clayton attended, Alan had attended. They Craig from Mitchell Medics, and so there'll be a follow-up. I believe Craig had asked to come speak at our next meeting, to address the whole entire board. So,
And Commissioner Masters, thank you for filling in for me.
oh yeah, absolutely.
We had a 7 o'clock ball game that night. Coach couldn't lay out.
We were there till 9:30, so you would have missed the whole game. All right, and then that is all I had on that, unless there are any questions or follow-up on anything. We will move right along to item 10 for items for discussion. So 10A is the resolution to exempt middle school construction project from the qualification-based process. Do you have anything, Alan, that you want to talk about?
Basically, what we're doing is, as the county is taking over the construction administration for the auxiliary gym, our county attorney had to kind of go in and work with the school to, do a resolution to exempt the middle school from, the RFQ process, which was passed by the school board about 2 weeks ago at their meeting. So the next step is passing it on our end. It basically gets us to where our audit is really clean on this, bill. So I'll just say this on the county's behalf. Our finance office, Mavis, Christie, Allison, myself, we're always going to be looking at that audit and making sure we're transparent and we're very clean on these field projects. So, just, that's what this is part of, is, we're taking that extra time to make this correct. So.
Before I call for a motion, does any of the board members have questions for Alan?
I just really appreciate that you guys don't ever cut any corners. Have full confidence in finance and our county manager.
All right, hearing no questions, do we have a motion to allow them to move forward?
So moved.
Thank you, Jeff. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Brandon. All in favor, vote by usual sign. The motion carries. Next item up is item 10B, the resolution supporting National Fair Housing Month. Do you have anything to discuss about that?
Read the resolution.
Okay. If you want to read it, you can.
See if we got that up on my screen when I was reading my.
I've got it.
There we go. Hey, I'll just go ahead and read this because, we want to make sure we have the folks on live stream knowing. So this resolution is to, well, this is actually a resolution to exempt from the school.
Oh, sorry, next one. Keep going.
Yeah, move it to the next one here.
Just have a paper copy if you need it.
There it is.
You got, hey, she's got me covered. Resolution supporting National Fair Housing Month, whereas April marks the anniversary of the Fair Housing Act of 1968, which sought to eliminate discrimination in housing opportunities and to affirmatively further housing choices for all Americans. And whereas Mitchell County desires that all its citizens be afforded the opportunity to attain decent, safe, and sound living environment. And whereas individuals in the state of North Carolina have the right to choose where to live without discrimination based on race, color, religion, age, sex, national origin, handicap status, or familial status. And whereas the state of North Carolina enacted the North Carolina State Fair Housing Act in 1983, now therefore be it resolved, Mitchell County does hereby join in the national celebration by proclaiming April 2024 as Fair Housing Month.
Make a resolution to adopt. Second.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Brandon. All in favor, vote by usual sign. Motion carries. Next item up is our updated Recreation Department Advisory Board bylaws.
I'll speak to that, Chair. Our county attorney was, tasked with just updating our Recreation Department, Advisory Board bylaws. He gave a really good legal eye and legal screening to those, brought them up to date. And, today I had Brock kind of give me a couple changes that we put in there as far as locations of one of the fields. So the bylaws that were in your packet are as stated, except we specified the new field out here in Gooch and Bowman as some of the fields in I think it was 9E or something on one of those notes. So basically, like I said, this just gets them up to date as they're going into a new recreation facility. There's a lot of growth coming down the pipe for Brock and recreation. And so what we're doing is we're putting that on a really good, solid foundation with some great bylaws. Thank you, county attorney, for getting those fixed for us. We'll need the board to adopt those.
I have a quick question.
Mhm.
Brock, what do you call this field out here? Where you're,
I don't know, we got a name.
okay, so I didn't know if you had named it yet.
I've got ideas.
Okay.
You tabbed the name Roadview Field, but that's a good.
You can go out there and stand in center field, you can just sit there and look at the ground, it's beautiful. So, I
Okay.
don't know, we got a name.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Brock or anything?
I had a couple other like these, I think they were really clean and, I think they meet some things that I think, need to occur. I like the, 2 meetings a month and the afternoon. I guess my question is, when will, after we adopt these, when will these come into effect?
You say 2 meetings a month?
No, 2 meetings in the evening. I really like it. Sorry, every other meeting's in the afternoon. I like it.
He did say that.
Yeah, sorry, excuse me, bro.
Specify a different start time, they would be effective on adoption.
Okay.
So that means the current board members, fall under this effectively now, is that what their terms?
I would like to, can I say something about that? I would like to, first of all, the evening meeting and the morning meeting will help, because I've got teachers and people working. I would like, if it goes under, right now, there's a 2-year term, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I would like for the people that are on here that have worked their hind off for this grant and this stuff to finish their 2-year term. I would like for them to see the rec center be built. My opinion. But you know, y'all can do whatever you want.
How quickly will we need to reappoint, so adopt this, we need to appoint the current board tonight?
When Larry came off, we put Johnny Wilson on there. That's the only change.
Okay, I remember that's
Yeah.
happened since I've been here.
Christy Duncan was a change during COVID.
Yeah.
Byron's been on it 10 years. And asked to get off of it for 8. But I would like him, like, he's been really, really, really good. I'd like to see that be built and that be done and. Personally.
Who are all your board members?
Byron and, Christy Duncan and Brittany McKinney, Johnny Wilson and Brandon. That's all.
Yes, so.
Mr. Pittman, to answer your question, the existing board will continue to serve until their successors are duly appointed.
Okay.
So we don't have to do the candidates.
Not unless you wish to maintain.
Eventually, I don't have no issue with, honoring Brock's recommendation, but eventually I'd like to see the rec board be made up of like an expert in every sport, so.
Sure.
I'd like to see a football representative, a soccer representative, basketball representative.
I will never be serving because I'm not a.
Hey, maybe someone from like how's it like senior center, I'd just like to see like a.
I agree with you, and to be quite honest with you, I don't even think that it needs to be everything sports related,
Right.
like life related, like, I mean.
There you go. There you go.
For instance, like, I mean, I really don't know Byron, he don't like for nobody to know he's on it, but I don't know how many times I've called him in the last, like, I called him and asked him if it's gonna rain. Like, I called him, he was in the gym Saturday when I called you. I didn't even think about that when I called you, whenever I had to do that Saturday evening. Christy, been good, and the way I started it, like, I didn't even know we had bylaws, to be honest with you, for the first 5 years. So the way I started it is we took a girl with 4 kids, and then we took a nurse, and then we took Larry. And Larry and Johnny, to me, were interchangeable as far as been there and done that.
To me, Byron was a businessman, and then you got that. So kind of saw that from different walks of life there. Now, ultimately you guys will put whoever you want, and that's fine. I mean, we're doing so good now. I don't care who you put on there. But I would like to see the guys finish out what they've done. And Brandon, you were part of that. We met a bunch to try to get the grant. I mean, a bunch out of their day. So,
I got to know Drew very well.
yeah. So what do you say when you say, does that mean the board that's on there goes for 2 years? Or are you saying once you adopt these, then you change whatever you want?
So whenever they wish to have this be effective, that's when the terms would run. And of course, the board can change that or alter that as they see fit.
Right.
There's no term limit on folks who serve, so you can reappoint whomever you want. But the purpose of this was just to update it.
Sure.
And have a period where membership will reoccur on periodic.
And I told Harley this earlier, the recreation boards met once with a major problem. That's a few years ago. Do you know who's not seen?
I'm not having any problem.
About a kid that we had the mama.
Yeah, no, that was there. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if that was the whole board. I think it was me.
It might have been,
Me,
yeah,
you.
yeah. So as far as that's what we've had now. I told her, as far as the bylaws, like, we're fixing to go from 100 to 500 when you've got a 13,000 square foot.
Right.
And I presume then that the board is going to take questions. I think we need to be really, really, really careful. My opinion. I've had a bunch of people ask me how to get on the board. And to get Johnny playing time, or
Right.
you see what I'm saying? I think we need to be careful on that, because that's definitely not what it's for.
I'd like
So
to,
I guess you guys will vet that out when it comes time, but
I'd like to see it just, like different sports. They're an advocate, if that makes sense. And even like the senior center, I know you guys do a lot with, the senior center,
still do aerobics twice a week, yeah.
So
I don't know how to go about it, but we don't want Brock in 2 years to have 5 new board members. So there needs to be some kind of differentiation of true, just like us, stagger how their terms are. Because in 2 years from tonight, they technically could have all 5 new ones, and we don't wanna do that. So
That's one law.
I don't know how to fix that.
Does the bylaw state that? I didn't see that in there. Does one have to always be a commissioner?
No, sir, the carryover was one on the recommendation of the school board.
Gotcha.
However, that's in Article 9 in your packet, and I certainly take no pride in authorship, so anything you want to change, please, feel free to give us direction. The only other thing I would point out in here is this is an advisory board, so this does not change the who works for who, so to speak. In other words, you folks have employed a county manager who then supervises a department head.
Yeah.
So this board doesn't tell your Parks and Rec director what to do. They will give him advisory input on what they'd like to see him do. But ultimately, the organizational chart is the recreation director, then answers to the county manager.
If something bad happens, I don't call the advisory board anyway, I call Alan.
Yeah, he did. They called me.
So,
About every weekend, I'll say, what's going on with this game, let's see.
Them games get interesting.
so I told Harley this, and this has nothing to do with it, but I'm gonna speak out right quick, because I am so proud of it. And I know maybe y'all might have caught some over time, but today we turned in our year end, and from September to today, we've done almost $41,000 in gate. So people are paying to get in. That's over 8,000 people. That's over 8,000 people that have come to a rec league game, and kids get in for free. And so do coaches, and so do players, and so do the people that hide. So that's over 8,000 fans. So people are coming.
I've been like.
4,000 of them is mad.
I've been like the last 8 ball games.
That's huge.
What is up?
How would you suggest helping him out as far as
I've just got to take.
Everybody
over
want
here.
Also, in 2 years, whatever the commission board is, I mean, if you had all 5 people who were said, hey, I don't want on the board, then you have to find 5 people to appoint, so that might be a tough task, so. I mean, what suggestions do you have as far as?
Like, we've never either,
rotation schedule?
we've never like, me and Ryan took notes. And then after the meeting, we typed it in. Now Emma does it, and it actually looks like an actual set of meetings, or minutes, but like, we've never, I'm reading that, I gotta have a chairman and a secretary there's gonna be people that ain't gonna wanna do that. I mean, just to be quite honest with you, it'll probably be a little more difficult than you think. And then there's a lot of people that don't want anybody to know they're on it, because we've talked about this. What is the most fragile thing in the world? And that's your kid. So once they find out Steve's on it, I mean, you're gonna get playing time, you're gonna get everything, and it's not, it'll be a difficult board to go to the grocery store, and once everybody in the world knows who's on it. I mean, be like my job.
We understand.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
That's it, I mean, whatever. I'm good with whatever.
Yeah.
Like certain properties.
Maybe we could probably, whenever y'all sign it, go into effect. Now, here's my thoughts on the, terms. If you had everybody running 2 years, some would wanna be, some might wanna be reappointed.
Yeah.
And then there'll probably be about half of them that will have had about as much as they take of it. And then those would be your new ones.
Yeah.
Maybe you could get a stagger deal going.
I think you can, yeah.
You could maybe get them to where you're staggering. And then.
And see, I think you also gotta be careful when your point's good, it's really good, but then, like, they knew as much about the bylaws as I did. So now we're gonna say, hey, guys, we had a meeting and you're off. You know what I mean? So we gotta be careful of that, cause they put in time. I mean, it's not a lot of time, but they put in time.
And it wouldn't be bad now that these are adopted to have maybe a meeting with them to go over bylaws.
We're supposed to have a meeting, like, I was waiting for basketball's over. We're gonna get together, pretty soon.
Is the first meeting in February, is that what it says?
I just tried to have 4 year, and I did not even go by that, Brandon. I went by sports ending,
Gotcha.
4 years, so I tried to have.
Are you guys good with voting on these tonight, or do you want to table them until we're meeting again in 2 weeks
I'd say we
to mull them over?
I think Laura's heard some comments and concerns. Alan's written them down. Not talked about maybe adjusting some of these to some extent.
Yes, sir. Does the board have any input on how you would like these terms to be? Do you want some with 1 year term, some with 2 year term, or to start out and then a 2 year term after that period so that you get a staggered?
I think we need to add something of that nature where all 5 are up. It's my opinion. Where all 5 don't come up at one time. I think it's also important to remember, that this is an advisory board, so,
But you still don't want Rock having 5 new people, I mean, come in with a complete total different.
I don't-
I mean, that's not fair to him, I don't
Yeah.
think.
and I don't look at this as punishment or anything. I think it's just some direction that we have it on paper and a situation.
It's gonna get thicker.
We have it covered.
I mean, we're gonna have a lot of operating procedures when you've got a huge facility. So it's gonna get thicker,
Over
yes.
the next 3 years, you're gonna have a lot of.
Yeah.
We'll have a lot of meetings, a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happens?
In 2 years, I hate to see your group say, hey, I've had enough of this.
All right, yeah, so.
Right now, they really don't know they can have enough. They're just on it.
Yeah, I make a motion to table.
Okay. All right, then, right, we'll put it on in 2 weeks.
This one would be helpful to you if this expressly says that the purpose of this board is not to contest child playing time or things like that.
Yeah, all that, I mean,
Having seen that in action before, I understand where you're coming from.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I mean, you don't want anybody with an agenda on that, I don't think.
Right.
I think it needs to be all on the same team on that. That would be helpful. Yes, sir.
We'll come back in 2 weeks. Second.
Second. Thanks, Brian.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, next item for discussion is item 10D, and that is our fire department water points. And I would speak and give a little bit more information about that.
So, about a month and a half ago, had the fire departments asking for assistance on engineering water points. So if they have a water point that's in a community, in a fire district that, they're gonna use to draw water from to fight a fire, it has to be engineered, it has to have some basic, requirements met, and then marked as a usable water point on the, EMS system, on the communications. So, several of the fire districts, were needing some. One fire district in particular was trying to lower their ISO, so it's really helping one, Steve. Ledger? So your insurance rates for you ledger folks, we're trying to work with it, but it was offered equally to all districts. And so we had about 30 water points come forward. And, I have an engineer that's been working with me down here on this rec center project on a no-rise study for the creek. Who does those, that's Derek Goddard, and gave a proposal, in the amount of, I think it's about 17,000, I'll have to bring that up.
17,500.
17,500. So the ask for the board is to, get a vote to move forward with, water point updates this one time to help them out, to get that, where we get that ISO rating down, because here's the benefit for taxpayers. Number one, if your house is on fire, you got a place to draw water. Number two, if, insurance prices, are tied in with ISO, so if I get an ISO rating down for any of them, let's see what we can do to help. This is the board's consideration, so
And it was offered to all fire departments.
it was
All of them.
offered to all, and then I doubled down on it at that meeting, asking them more time. I think they were all happy with what was submitted.
Yeah, and this was, I think you put down that he was certified for his water.
Across the county.
Yes.
That was confirmed at that Friday meeting. We brought it back up and asked all fire chiefs that were there, for their input. They were all supportive of it. Just because it helps mutual aid wise, across the county. So if we go into someone else's district, they certify that water point, so we know it's a good usable source as opposed to saying down there next to the bridge, on 261, whatever, it gives you a certified water point. They don't label that water point. It'll have a number, and so that kind of, will then be put on file when it's dispatched. Communications can then, be exactly where it's at, by coordinates. So, like I said, all chiefs were in favor of it, at that Friday meeting, so.
Are there any questions about this?
If, one of them is not up to engineered standards, who will correct that?
So, I think when he goes out there, he'll make recommendations if they're not up to standards, or he'll make a statement and a report as to why that one wouldn't pass.
So he did their re-inspection, I guess, then, or recertification?
Bet he would, if there was something to make it pass. Now, if it is what it is and it's not, I'm hoping that ones they scout out are just basically, I think since fire chiefs, fire, volunteers scout them out, I've got a feeling about all of them will be suitable. That's the water points that have been used,
It's not certified.
they're just not been certified. And so, I'm not sure how long it's been since each one of the departments have gone to their ISO rating. And so, of course, that affects it, You need them certified in order to help the ISO, and so.
This is measuring flow rates, I think.
Flow rates and location and making sure that what kind of source you've got. So they've all been used. It's just a matter of making sure that they're certified.
All right, do we have a motion to move forward?
I'll make that motion. I'll say.
Jeff, and then Steve seconded. All in favor, vote by usual sign. Motion carries. All right. Moving right along to item number 11 is our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to?
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Thank you, Clayton. All in favor, vote by usual sign. Carries. All right, Ms. Mavis, you're up.
I'll just go over a couple things. One is, your, year-to-date numbers I put in your boxes earlier, well, Friday. Current budget, we're looking good. We're 77% collected on revenues and we're 60% on expenses. So we're on track. We look good. Things that are going on now, and it started this month, is budget worksheets went out to all county departments on Friday. They're due back to the finance office on the 18th of March. It'll give them two and a half weeks to work on those. Once they come back to me, then county manager and myself has set aside a couple of days of the latter part of March to sit down, review those, and go over those with department heads. So we'll get those pretty much ironed down for you. Outside agency request letters went out today. They're requested to be back to us on April the 19th. Outside agencies usually take a little bit longer because they have to work on their budgets in March, then they have to usually get them approved by their boards. So we usually get those back mid-April. So we'll feed those in and be ready for your first workshop on April 30th. Are you excited? And we selected, what? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I should have done that.
I don't know what to figure out. I was right there.
Um, we were gonna do it like from 3 to 8, just set a definite time. But if you want to change that to another date, we're open. You want it, Alan?
It's up to Jeff, I guess.
I'm good. You know. I keep getting us further down in the hole anyway.
Alan, do you want to look at your calendar and see if we want to pick another?
I think.
I'm
It's pretty cool with that date.
It just-
I mean, that's about it. Yeah, I mean, I'm good.
Yeah,
Now,
we want our
we'll
commission
do our
to-
anniversary on a weekend.
Yeah, I started to say, that's yeah, you probably wouldn't. It's a school night too, so you probably, okay.
I wanna make a note.
And just a reminder, we haven't set the date, but we will need to present the budget formally to you before June 1st. So we'll probably look at that second meeting in May. Hopefully we can get it presented to you then, and you won't have to do a special one. And then we'll do the public hearing on June 3rd. And then we're proposing to do adoption on June 25th and the final budget amendment. There are several reasons why we need to do it that last week. And whatever time you want to do it on the 6th, on June the 25th is fine. If you want to do an early morning meeting, it'd just be like there's 2 items and then we're out. Or if you want to do it in the evening after work, that's fine too. But I really think we need to probably do it as later than possible. And I don't know that you want to move. You may or may not need a second meeting in June if we get the budget tied down and do the first budget, but we've got to adopt the budget. And one of the things is it's just a lot easier to clean things up the later we wait in June to do it. And this is the year we've got to move some ARPA money back and forth. So I really need to tie those numbers down and get it in the budget amendment. So audit will not jump me at the end. So that's kind of just a brief outlook of what's to come for the next few months.
You don't need us to vote on anything.
No,
Okay,
I'm just
good.
giving you some, throwing out
All
some,
right, just checking.
just a schedule, what's going on in case you
You'll
start
tell us where to
hearing.
be and when to be there.
We surplus them vehicles on the gov deals and some agenda, or how we surplus them.
No, I'm probably not gonna put those on gov deals because we searched gov deals last week on those vehicles and there's
Not doing too good.
not doing too good. I will get with, I've got a notice ready. I just gotta get with, county manager and talk about minimum prices to put on them. One of them has a blown motor. They've all got major issues and a lot of miles. So we've got to come up with minimum bids to put on there. If we want to put a minimum bid, or do we just want to put them out there and see what we get?
You know, you always have scrap prices,
I mean, we'll just do minimum bid and see what comes in.
Yeah, I mean, $400-500 is a good scrap price. I mean, this bigger stuff though, it might be, more. I think steel's bringing $10 a hundred now or something like that. It's pretty high. So you always have scrap prices.
Well, and sometimes you have people that won't want to do vehicles, even though they don't run, for spare parts or to piece it out for other vehicles or something. I don't know, but I was kind of waiting to see, the sheriff's department. I'm waiting to see if they may have another vehicle or two they want to get rid of. I'd love to advertise them all at one time just for the cost of advertising. But we have 4 ready to go now. I'm just kind of waiting. Thought I would check base again with sheriff tomorrow, the next day, to see what he had decided. He's trying to assess his right now to see. Cause he's got some chargers, I think, that are about ready to time out. They're getting, when they get to the point they cost you more to keep on the road than, and they're just sitting there as spares. And so if we can get them off of our insurance and get rid of them, we will. All right.
Thanks, Mavis.
Thank you.
All right, county manager, what you got?
And Mavis just talked about the calm before the storm as we get ready to go into budget season. It's, we're gonna be, wide open. And we've already been wide open, so we're just gonna be wide open on top of wide open. So, first off, we had our opioid study tonight, and I know over here in HR, Glenda did a ton of footwork on that. So I want to thank Glenda for her hard work on bringing all that together. And I know there was many pieces and many parts into that, but the one I saw that's right there beside me working every day was Glenda. And that is not no means taken away from anybody else in there, but I just wanted to give her a special thank you, in addition to the whole group that worked so hard on that. Talk first about the last week, we had a hazardous materials truck wreck in Beulah Dean. And it was a spent salicylic acid on board, and it turned on its side. It was fortunately only 2 gallons of salicylic acid that was spent got out, and that was only because a valve was a little loose, and when it turned sideways, it put a little pressure on that loose valve. They got that shut down, so really there was no punctures or anything to the chemicals that were in the tank. It was just a valve, so they got that, and there was also about 15 gallons of diesel fuel that got out. So I want to thank all the responders, all law enforcement, all fire, wreckers, emergency management. We brought the hazardous material response trailer onto that scene, and it was available. Fortunately, that was not a bad event. We dodged it, but that said, that's 3 in about a year and a half that we've had on our roads. And yes, the county is very concerned, and yes, the county is working, as we did last summer when we had one late spring, bringing together. I got an emergency management task with bringing together some of the stakeholders that are driving the roads, the companies that are holding the acids, we're gonna have a debrief on that. I'll have two commissioners coming when we get a date lined up on that. So I do want citizens to know that we are very, concerned and we are working very hard. This board is very motivated. Also, Harley had mentioned the Red Hill intersection widening project will be starting. What was it they say about maybe hopefully April, maybe? I think I heard that back so they're still on schedule to start. So, that is one of the things we're doing. We're also, just looking at all angles of how these chemicals run on our roads. So we'll be putting out more on that. So more to come. Also, we removed from the agenda the front loader at our recycling center. So we have a very old front loader. So the story of old vehicles seems to be the theme right here between Mavis and me, and we have a lot of them. So in recycling, we've had a vehicle get burnt. That was one of our mobile units. And we have an old dinosaur of a front loader, which is, the vehicle that loads the dumpsters, tips them up over the back and pours it in, the ones that you as a kid really like to watch. So what we're thinking on that, we took it off the agenda because after doing some financial projections and some financial analysis, we're looking at the contracting that out is gonna probably save us a little bit more than purchasing it. So the cost of a new one is $411,000. So if you just drew the interest off of that for, our calculation said that on a straight out payback, it would take about 8 years. But when we're contracting, we can be working with a contract. We can also be saving the interest on that money that would have been going towards the contract as well. So we come out really good to contract on that. So we decided to looking at that analysis with the board in mind, we're looking at contracting that. So
We've been, and I believe that truck is not used for one day a week,
that's about it.
maybe 2 or 3 sites.
We was catching a lot of the loading at schools,
All the schools and all the county buildings.
Okay.
Yep.
So, I mean, you've got the one up on the hill where the courthouse and DSS is, and the daycare, you've got to have one up there. We've got one in this complex, we've got one at, Senior Citizen Center, that has to have one. We've got one down at maintenance. But the schools are the majority. That's the reason if it wasn't for that, we probably wouldn't even have our own at these places. But the schools are the biggest.
Consumer.
Right.
Isn't the milk like it's like
Yes.
harmful to the, and so we've been talking about this for several years now. And I believe that when we looked at replacing them 2 years ago, the price was like $360,000.
Yeah,
So
now it's 411.
yeah, it just keeps creeping up,
Creeping up.
Yeah.
And can I mention something else while I'm thinking about it, County Manager? Sorry. Just to bring to the board's attention, it appears that the vehicle recycling center was purposely set, the side tours. And I know we put it out. We're gonna meet in here pretty quick. I'd like for this board to think about maybe finance and county manager come up with a reward, a cash reward on conviction of this person. That is legal, Mr. Attorney?
Let me look into that, but I believe that is a possibility.
Okay. Cause I think, you throw that green stuff out there, then somebody might start talking, hey, yeah, that.
people like money better than they do arsonists usually.
But, the insurance is 75,000, it's 225 to replace it. So. Dang it, well, I like to catch me.
If I had a choice between cash and defending an arsonist, I'm choosing the cash all day long.
So yeah, that front end load or the front loader right there is something now, something that y'all are wanting to do for the board when the time changes and it gets to be longer days and we got a low agenda. I want to take you over to the law enforcement center. We'll do a recess in the middle of the meeting. We'll walk over to the law enforcement center. We got walls going up inside there. It's starting to take shape. We're running on schedule. We've got some, bi-weekly construction meetings we're doing at a pretty rapid pace out there. They're keeping this thing on schedule, so I want y'all to see it. And in addition to that, on, one of my calendar items is maybe on that same meeting, I'll have the chemical spill response trailer out there for y'all to visit as well. So I've got that on my agenda and, definitely want to get that worked in. So, and final thing I want to talk about is the rec center and where we're at with that. I always like to give some updates on the rec center. We are in design process where we have the plans that are, working towards final drafts to get approval. And once the plans are completed and if Brock was here, he would, eloquently present it and, have you really excited because Brock is really good at that. But when those plans are completed, we're hoping that, around April 1st through right around the end of April, that we should have that thing out for bids. So we'll start seeing some construction maybe as early as midsummer to early fall, maybe starting out there on this rec center. So we got that moving on and, a lot going on.
Alan, can we update them a little bit on the Alta Pass Center? For those that have not been out there, we've got new siding on the front of the building. Go look at it. New windows, new siding. The new, some more new equipment came in. So all of our equipment has been replaced and is working. We got some new lighting out there. I told them I wanted it lit like a Christmas tree at night. So we have increased dramatically the lighting.
And we have 4 new photocells and, we have maintenance put in some, so we have lit that place up. So.
And, we are, probably have 3 or 4 punch items left to do on the insurance job. Just some minor things that they've got to come back and do that they've not finished yet. We are enhancing our security system to include smoke and fire alarm systems. So in the future, if there is any type of incident, hopefully, and I'm looking at you because I don't know how all that works, but, I guess if there's any smoke, now we will have a true smoke alarm that would go off, not just the security system, but it will pick up heat and smoke in that building, which will be great. So that's hopefully we will take care of.
Is there any update on the, mobile command unit? Yes, I talked to Colby about that last week. So we have the mobile command unit up here on the mountain. And, basically the way that was purchased was we had the unit itself was purchased, but there's a lot of add-ons that we're adding after the fact to kind of piece the grant out to get customization. So, Colby is, working on, he's getting us our invoices as he gets this thing customized out under the grant. So that grant's covering the expenses on it. So, I talked about hazardous materials, response trailer. We have a very large mobile command unit, and what that is in an emergency situation. If we need to set up operations in a certain area that's ground zero, we have this, mobile command unit to where we can have kind of an HQ headquarters to, spearhead, efforts for relief or for search and rescue or for response. So, it's gonna be equipped with all the, items that are geared towards that.
All right. So,
I believe that's it.
Heather, you got anything not?
Not really, it's been, I did get 2 more books handed in this week.
I was proud of you.
That's all I got to tell you.
We did have the need for a very short closed session, and so we will need a motion to go in to closed session for North Carolina General Statute 143-318-11A3.
So move.
Yeah.
Second.
Clayton, Brandon,
We have time for the restroom break.
Run.
I like to go into closed section.